Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Rant. It's Monday night, September 30th, 2013, and Monday Night Raw just finished, and apparently it was someplace in Mississippi. I'm not exactly sure where. I don't think they ever actually said what city. And I do apologize, by the way, for missing SmackDown last week. I was so busy playing GTA 5, Wednesday and Thursday I completely forgot to do spoilers for SmackDown. And Friday I came home kind of late from work. I missed part of SmackDown and I didn't watch much of it, so I wasn't really able to take notes on it then. I just decided to skip over it. Not sure if I'm going to do it this week either. But I got Raw. Let's just go ahead and go over that. The show starts off with CM Punk coming out. He comes out, and they show a recap of last week. The confrontation between Punk and Heyman. And Heyman was in his little scooter thing, and it crapped out on him, so he couldn't get away. And Punk tried to attack him, but Ryback and Axel came out to save him, and yada yada. And Punk wound up getting gorilla press slammed through a table, which he pretty much missed, because Ryback's a fucking lunkhead who can't do shit right. But anyways, they show the recap of that. And then Punk starts talking. Yeah, anyways. Brad Maddox comes out to interrupt him. And this surprised the hell out of me, because Maddox is hardly ever on the show much anymore, and it's hardly ever out in the arena. It's usually back in the office where he's playing second or third fiddle to Triple H and Stephanie. But Maddox comes out and interrupts, and he says, it's obvious that you want to fight tonight, you want a match or something, and I can give you a match. And then all of a sudden, Big E Langston's music hits, and out he comes. And I'm like, well, he's been missing for a while. Where the hell has he been? And why have him go against Punk? Either way, Big E comes out and he gets a mic and he says, if you're looking for aggression, I've got that. And then he basically just cracks Punk upside the head with the microphone and starts attacking him. They get separated and Maddox asks for a referee to come out. We're gonna have us a match. But not before a commercial break. They cut to commercial. When they come back, the match is already going. And actually, these two actually managed to put on a good match. Punk wins with the GTS, of course. They're not going to let him lose to Big E. After that, they recap some of the Rhodes family troubles. First, it's the Cody losing his job after the match against Orton. And they also hype up this family summit later on. Triple H and Stephanie have invited the Rhodes out to the ring for they have a, what do they call it? A lucrative proposition for them. Apparently that's going to come up later. They cut to a commercial break again. When they come back, Fandango comes out with Summer Rae, of course. And he even gets his little Burning Man pyro thing hanging from the rafters. And then Kofi Kingston comes out. So we got a match, of course. Johnny and Kofi. Kofi ends up winning with the Trouble in Paradise. And even though I don't really like Kofi, this was still a decent match. Here's the funny thing, though. After the match, we get that stupid quick cut horse shit for the Wyatts. They come out. And Bray sits in his stupid little rocking chair up on the stage this time. And while the lights are out, they cut back to the ring, and there's obviously a spotlight on Kofi, and it shows him standing there. He's got a chair, so he's ready for him. Doesn't matter because they're up on the stage. And Bray just talks. He cuts a promo. Whatever the fuck. I really don't care. They do the little jump cut thing again to commercial. Whatever. When they come back from the commercial, they say that, well, first of all, the Battleground pay-per-view is this Sunday. I don't know if I'm going to be able to see all of it, because I am working this Sunday. But not only do they say it's this Sunday, but the kickoff is going to be Dolph Ziggler versus Damian Sandow. This is immediately puzzling because it was last week on SmackDown, and I know this because I read some stuff. It was last week on SmackDown that Ziggler had his rematch against Ambrose for the US title, and it ended in a DQ because I think the other Shield members got involved, and obviously there was a DQ. So I'm wondering, why wouldn't you just have it be Ziggler and Ambrose for the US title? You could have it be the kickoff, even though a title match should really be on the pay-per-view, but, whatever. But whatever, they announced that, whatever. They cut backstage to the Bella Twins, who are talking, and then Randy comes up again. And it's basically the same segment they did, I think it was last week on Raw. And basically the gist of it is, they talk about, in real life, Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan are actually they've gotten engaged. They're going to get married. And Randy's basically saying, you might want to move the wedding day forward a bit because there's not going to be much left of Bryan after Battleground this Sunday. Whatever. They cut to the backstage interview area where Renee Young is with Paul Heyman. And she's talking with him, yada yada, and then she points out Heyman's talking a big game because, that's what he's good at. And then Renee points out, she says, oh, is that why you have Ryback just around the corner and Curtis Axel is hiding over here and shit? And they don't show them, but it's implied that they're hiding, laying in wait for Punk because they're trying to set some trap for him. Yada yada, who gives a fuck? They show another video package for Los Matadores, and it ends saying their debut is next. They cut to another commercial. When it comes back from commercial, the 3MB are in the ring, our resident jobber stable. And apparently it's going to be Slater and Mahal who are going to take on Los Matadores. Well, Los Matadores, they come out, and they get their entrance, and it's... this is some dopey shit here. The two of them come out, it's Primo and Epico, we know that. They come out in their little bullfighting masks and hats, and their bullfighting jackets, and their tights that are all pink and everything with the frazzle-dazzle shit on it. And they've got their red bullfighting capes. And then they stand there together and they put their capes together. And then there's smoke coming out of the stage or coming down from wherever. And then they move the capes and there's this midget standing there in a bull costume. He's dressed up as a mini bull, complete with the big frickin' nose ring and the horns and everything. And at first I was thinking, that's gotta be Hornswoggle. He's the only midget they have on the payroll. Turns out, I looked it up, it's actually not. I can't remember the name, but he's a mini wrestler from Mexico. Again, I can't remember his name. But yeah, so great. Now we've got two midgets on the payroll when we don't fucking need any of them. And what's funny, oh yeah, and not only that, but they say the bull's name is El Torito. And they also happen to give us the new names of Primo and Epico now that they're Los Matadores. Fernando and Diego. Don't ask me which one's which. I don't give a shit. Yeah, but the funny thing about it is, El Torito, their little bull guy, is actually the most exciting part about their entrance. They get in the ring and he starts jumping around on the corner turnbuckles, jumping around from the second rope, bouncing out to the outside of the ring, bouncing back in, and then to the other side, and then he jumps off of the ropes and lands on their shoulders, and they're holding him up, and it's like, what the fuck is the point of this? I miss Rosa shaking her ass, man. At least that was sexy. This is just fucking facepalm cringeworthy shit. Anyways, obviously, we've got their debut match. It's Slater and Mahal versus Los Matadores, and it turns out to be a decent match. What ends up happening is, I believe it was Slater who took the finish. They actually came up with a somewhat interesting double team finish move for the Matadors. What they did was they throw Slater into the ring and then they get him up. I think they grabbed him like what's it called, like an arm drag, double arm drag. They lift him up onto their shoulders. They're back to back, Primo and Epico are, and they get him between themselves, and then they basically just drop him down like a double Samoan drop type of move. That's basically what it was. And that's their finish. They get the cover, 1, 2, 3, they win. And they're celebrating with the midget, bull again, whatever. We show more Rhodes family troubles. A recap from the other week when Dusty was KO'd by the Big Show. And again, they hype up the family summit later on. They cut to another commercial. Oh, and it turns out, yeah, the family summit is now, because after the commercial, Triple H and Stephanie come out, and they come out to the King of Kings music. It's like, will you just fucking pick one for Triple H? Last week they were using his other Motorhead music, and now they're back to King of Kings, and pick one. Stop switching in between, for fuck's sake. He's gonna be a heel, just keep using the King of Kings. It fits the heel vibe, okay? But anyways, Triple H and Stephanie come down, and Triple H invites the Rhodes family to the ring. And they come out to Dusty's music. Alright, and during them coming out, Michael Cole on commentary said something stupid. He got his words backwards. I believe what it was is he was trying to say that it was in reference to the Stephanie and Dusty segment from a couple of weeks ago, where Stephanie was offering the job to either Cody or Goldust, but Dusty had to pick one or the other. But what Cole ended up saying was, I can't remember exactly how it went, but he said, wanted your jobs to get your sons back or something? He had it backwards. He meant to say wanted your sons to get their jobs back, but he got it backwards and flubbed his line, and I always love laughing at Cole when he fucks up like that, which is pretty regular because he's a fuck-up. By the way, the commentary all night was just terrible. It's really getting old. Cole sucks, JBL sucks, and Jerry really sucks. Please find some new commentators, for God's sake. It's really getting old. I almost miss Mike Adamle. That's how bad it's getting. I would almost prefer him fucking up everybody's names and flubbing his lines and not knowing what to call shit. At least that would be good for a laugh. This is just painful. Listening to the three of them argue and bicker at each other and bitch and complain. And JBL is just fucking atrocious. JBL is almost as bad as Taz is on commentary in TNA. And I facepalm after damn near everything I hear Taz say in TNA. And speaking of, I actually caught a bit of TNA last Thursday, and it was terrible. Moving on, though. The Rhodes come out. And there's talking between them and Stephanie and Triple H and whatever. The bottom line is, the generous proposal that they were getting at was, Stephanie proposes at the Battleground pay-per-view, if Goldust and Cody want their jobs back, they have to fight or wrestle and defeat our tag team champions Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. If they win the match, if Cody and Goldust win the match, they both get their jobs back. Even Goldust gets a job. But if they lose, if they can't beat the Shield, they're gone forever. And not only that, but Dusty also loses his job as the head of developmental or whatever. They bring up that he was working with NXT or the, what was it called? The Performance Center down in Orlando. So it's win, you get your jobs back. Lose, you're gone forever. So obviously they're going to win. This is a no-brainer. But anyways, as the segment, or as the promo or whatever starts coming to an end, Stephanie says, Dusty, it seems like you're looking for a fight. Well, you might learn to be careful what you wish for. Stephanie and Triple H leave, and as Dusty and Cody and Goldust are all in the process of leaving, Goldust is last. He turns around and notices the Shield coming out. Goldust gets ran through with a spear by Reigns, and then there's Ambrose and Rollins who beat the shit out of Cody, and Dusty even tries to come in with a chair, but he gets the crap kicked out of him. Cody gets picked up and triple power bombed. And that's pretty much it. So the Shield just destroys the Rhodes family. That's the end of that segment. The commentators say that later on tonight we're going to have a face-to-face between Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan, the two men who will face each other at Battleground for the vacated WWE title. That's going to be later on. And we cut to a commercial break. When we come back, R-Truth is in the middle of coming out. And hilariously, even though normally he's pretty over with the fans, it's pretty damn quiet during his entrance. The crowd's not doing, what's up? That's nothing. Because, they're probably they're like, yeah, he's been jobbing for so long, whoop-de-doo, he's not going to do anything but job. And then Curtis Axel comes out with Paul Heyman. We got a match. And no, it's not for the Intercontinental title, even though I don't think Axel has defended that damn title in 30 days, so he really should be stripped of it by now. Truth versus Axel, and again, this turns out to be a decent match. The finish of the match is, it looks like Axel is getting ready to finish off Truth, and then all of a sudden, CM Punk's music hits. And Axel and Heyman are freaking out. They're like, where is he? Where is he? Turns out it's just a diversion. Truth spins Axel around and hits the leaping... I don't even know I don't know what Truth calls it. The little Jimmy or the what's up or whatever. I remember it was Shelton Benjamin's move and he called it pay dirt. Leaping, grabbing, face slam, buster thing, whatever. Either way, Truth hits that, and he actually pins Curtis Axel. So Axel loses like the schmuck that he is. Whoop-de-doo. We cut backstage to the Bellas again, who are walking, apparently, towards the entranceway, because Brie has a match up next. They cut to commercial. When they come back, they show a clip from the Total Divas. I guess it was the last episode of the show before they went to the mid-season break or whatever. And basically all it is they're showing like the relationship between Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella. and how they're going to get married and whatever. We cut back into the arena, and there's Alicia Fox in the ring. And then Brie comes out with Nikki. Apparently now the Bellas are supposed to be face. I don't understand that. There was never any real legitimate reason given for the Bellas to turn face. Even with AJ making fun of them and all that shit for the Total Divas thing. They're not faces. And even involving them in the Orton and Bryan thing, that's not turning them face either. But anyways, Brie comes out, and we got Fox versus Brie. It's shit. They show AJ and Tamina watching the match backstage on the monitor. Brie hits the X Factor on Fox and gets the win. Whoop-de-doo. And after the match, this is another reason why I can't take the Bellas seriously as faces, because after the match, Nikki gets in the ring to celebrate with her sister, and they're both doing the L on the forehead, the loser thing to Alicia Fox, and I'm like, faces wouldn't do that. That is heel shit. They're not faces if they're not gonna act like faces, damn it. Anyways, who gives a shit? Let's move on. They say that Dolph Ziggler and the Usos are going to take on the Shield later tonight in a 6-man tag, and they cut to a commercial. When they come back, we're in the locker room with Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman. Axel seems to be freaking out, and Heyman calms him down, whatever the fuck. They talk back and forth. Ryback comes up and says something, I don't really remember what, and Heyman basically just looks at him and says, "Don't worry about anything, Ryback. How about you go get something to eat?" And Ryback's like, okay, and he goes and he gets something to eat, I guess. And then it's back to Heyman and Curtis, and they are talking again, and Heyman starts saying that he wants to propose to Ryback. I wish you could have seen the look on my face when he said that, because I couldn't see it myself, but I knew it was hilarious. It's like if you've seen the meme picture of the face, just all, like, it looks stretched out and just really terrified. I don't know. Whatever. That's the end of that segment. They recap SmackDown, I don't think it was last week, I think it was maybe the week before, where Miz was hosting Miz TV with Big Show, and then Stephanie came out and ordered Show to clock Miz, and he did, and whatever. We cut backstage to Renee Young once again, who this time is interviewing Big Show. And again, they show a recap from SmackDown. I guess it was this past SmackDown. Trying to remember exactly what it was. I guess Big Show had to do something else he didn't like on SmackDown. I don't remember what it was, but who cares. Anyways, Big Show and Renee are talking, and Big Show is pissed. He's sick of taking all this crap from Triple H. He's pissed, and he's talking, cutting a very heartfelt promo, and it's believable, and he's got them crazy eyes. Like, he is gone, just totally pissed. He's gonna kill somebody, and he basically says that I'm gonna go knock out Triple H. He balls up that giant fist of his, I'm gonna knock Triple H out, and he storms off, just looking like he's about ready to rip Triple H's schnoz off of his face, or pound it into his face. I don't know. He walks off, and that's the end of the segment. They cut to a commercial. We come back, and we're in the office with R-Truth and Brad Maddox, and Truth is basically saying, did you see I beat Curtis Axel, you know? And Maddox is like, that's great, I'll take that into consideration. Like, because the Intercontinental title and whatever the fuck. And then Show busts in the office. Truth hits the bricks because, he don't want to fuck with Show. Show grabs Maddox and basically choke lifts him up and puts him up against the wall, and he's like, where's Triple H? I want Triple H. And Maddox is like, I don't know where he is. And then Show basically lets him down and says, go find him. Maddox takes off, and Show just sits there in the office and waits. Back in the arena, Zach Punk Bitch Ryder is in the ring, and then Alberto Del Rio comes out. What do you think's about to happen? Anyways, while Del Rio comes out, because his entrance is fucking boring, they announce that, the World Heavyweight Championship match that we're having at the pay-per-view, Del Rio and RVD, it's now a hardcore or Extreme Rules match. So it's right up RVD's alley. Whatever. We get the match, Ryder and Del Rio, and it's fucking boring. Del Rio wins with the arm breaker, and Ryder taps out like the bitch that he is. Whatever. They hype up Heyman proposing to Ryback next. And they cut to commercial. When they come back, once again recapping the Rhodes family. Okay, the Rhodes, the whole promo with Triple H and Steph, the whole thing from earlier, and then them getting the shit beat out of them by the Shield. They recap that. And then Ryback's music hits, and he comes out with Paul Heyman. They get in the ring, and Heyman starts talking. He's really hyping up Ryback, this big, beautiful man who's saved his life from CM Punk twice now. They show the clip from last week, which is what we started on, was the attack on Punk after Punk tried to attack Heyman in his little rascal scooter thing, whatever the fuck. After the clip, there's more talking. And again, he's really just trying to hype up Ryback, and Heyman finally gets down on one knee, and he takes Ryback's hand. And finally, after a lot of stalling, he looks up at him, and he says, Ryback, would you do me the honor? Would you become a Paul Heyman guy? And I saw this coming, because he's not going to actually propose marriage, because number one, Heyman's actually married and he has kids. Ugh. But anyways, he proposes to become a Heyman guy. Punk's music hits again. And again, Ryback and Heyman, they freak out. They're like, where is he? They're looking up at the ramp. They're looking out into the crowd. Finally, we get a camera shot from out in the crowd on the opposite side of where the Shield normally comes out. Punk comes in, and he goes to jump the barricade, and he slips and lands and tweaks his knee. And everybody's like, oh shit, was that a botch? Was he hurt? Punk sells it for a minute, really just stalling. I guess it's the ringside doctor comes over and he's checking on Punk. And Punk's trying to get into the ring to go and attack Heyman, but he can't, and he's still down, and the doctor's checking on him. And then finally, stupidly, Heyman cautiously kind of walks over to the ropes over on that side of the ring where Punk is. And Punk sees it, pushes the doc away, and in one fluid motion reaches under the ring, grabs a kendo stick, pulls it out from under, and cracks Heyman in the leg under the bottom rope. Heyman goes down, Ryback comes over, he takes a shot with the kendo stick, Punk jumps in the ring, obviously he was faking the injury, and he starts beating on Ryback with the kendo stick. Curtis Axel comes out, and he gets hit with the kendo stick, and Ryback gets hit. Ryback and Heyman bail, they're up to the top of the ramp, and Axel's getting his ass kicked in the ring by Punk with the kendo stick, and then finally Punk ditches the stick, lifts Axel up, and hits the GTS on him, and that was my knee hitting my desk. Punk hits the GTS on Punk hits the GTS on Axel, and Axel's out. And that's pretty much the end of that. We cut back to the office where Show is still waiting. And I think it was about here that he started taking off his suit jacket. He was wearing a suit, so he starts taking off the suit jacket. He takes that off, and he looks like he's sweating his ass off. They cut to a commercial. And when they come back, the Shield is already in the ring. It's time for the 6-man tag match. Ziggler's music hits, and he comes out, followed by the Usos, who don't even get their little tribal warrior dance or their pyro, and they don't deserve it, honestly, but they come out, and whatever the fuck. 6-man match. Again, despite the Usos sucking, this match actually turned out to be fairly good. There was a commercial in the middle of it, and the ending was actually kind of nice. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. All hell broke loose at one point. People were getting thrown out of the ring, and I think what ended up happening was Rollins was legal with Ziggler. Rollins backs into his corner, and Reigns takes a blind tag. Rollins runs at Ziggler, and Ziggler counters, and Ziggler hits the zigzag on Rollins. But then Ziggler gets up and turns around and gets run through by Reigns with the spear. Reigns takes the cover, he gets the pin, 1, 2, 3, and the Shield wins. So, again, that was kind of a nice finish. It looked great. We cut back to the office again, and there's the show again. And actually, I think it was about here is where he was taking off his jacket. Whatever. They cut to another commercial. And when they come back, Big Show is still in the office, still pretty mad. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of cops come into the room, led by apparently some detective. And they say, the detective guy says, it's become clear that you're threatening to hurt somebody, so we're going to have to take you in. And then Stephanie comes out of nowhere, and she jumps in the middle, and she's like, hold on a second, hold on. Big Show has been under a lot of pressure lately, and she starts trying to explain all this shit. She's trying to get the cops to fuck off. And they do, basically. But Stephanie can't just leave well enough alone. She has to end with looking back at Show and saying, I talked to your wife earlier, and she said you haven't been measuring up to her expectations at home. So, a Big Show has a small dick joke there, you know, whatever the fuck. She leaves, and Show's all pissed, and he sits down in a chair, and he starts kind of crying, and then he looks up, and he starts getting real mad again. And I'm thinking, what, is Triple H actually dumb enough to come in here? No. Show stands up, and he goes over, and the camera pans over, and there's a picture hanging on the wall of something Triple H, his new DVD or something, I don't fucking know. But it's a Triple H picture, and Big Show just punches the damn thing. The picture falls off, and you can see there's a big friggin' hole in the wall. So, yeah. Again, we cut backstage to Renee Young. This is like the third or fourth time we've done that tonight. But she's there with RVD. And she mentions, you know, now the world title match is going to be hardcore rules. And she says, how do you feel about that, Rob? And he says, you know, I could talk about this forever, but instead, I'm going to show you. They roll this clip of, apparently they have these YouTube videos posted, all these different, like, clips of compilation of moments. They had one for Kofi earlier, and now they show one of, it's just clips of RVD being all hardcore, using weapons and shit, and it's like the top 10 moments or whatever. And then Rob talks, and he basically says, you know, it's going to be good for me at the Battleground pay-per-view. And I'm thinking, okay, is Del Rio going to attack him? No. That's the end of that segment. We cut backstage again, and we see the Great Khali, Santino Marella, and Hornswoggle looking like they're coming out to the ring. And the ring announcer, or the commentators say, yeah, up next we've got Santino versus Antonio Cesaro. And that's going to be up next. They cut to another commercial. When they come back, they say that because of his actions, the show is now being put into a 3-on-1 handicap match versus The Shield on SmackDown this Friday. We cut back out to the ring where the Real Americans are standing there and Zeb Coulter is talking, and it's his same sort of stupid promo. We the people and yada yada. Santino's music hits and he comes out with Khali and Hornswoggle. And they show a recap from SmackDown. Right, there was, I guess, a tag team match. Cesaro and Swagger versus the Primetime Players. And Cesaro got Titus O'Neil into that big giant swing that he's been doing lately, and he went around like 20 freaking times with this thing. Good grief. Anyways, Cesaro and Santino actually put on a crap match. It didn't last all that long, and this was actually the last match on the show, so this was your main event. And it sucked. Cesaro is able to do the big swing on Santino. And Santino tries to no-sell it, but he can't because he's still dizzy. He gets back up and then immediately falls back the fuck down. But it doesn't matter because what ends up happening is just a few seconds later, mind you, Santino does this weird roll-up thing, like he's been doing lately, and he pins Cesaro. And of course he bails out of the ring because Cesaro's about to choke him to death. But Cesaro just kind of sits there and in disbelief, and I'm just like, dude, stop jobbing like this. Santino should not be beating anybody. With his joke comedy crap, he should be jobbing to fucking everyone. But whatever. Match is done, it sucked, it's time for the final segment on the show, which is the Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan face-to-face, but not before we get us another damn commercial break. When they come back, Jerry the King Lawler's music is playing. And I'm like, okay. He's in the ring, and apparently he's going to be the MC for this face-to-face. First off, he talks about Bryan and Brie Bella getting married again, and yada yada. He introduces Daniel Bryan, who comes out, and then he introduces Randy Orton, who comes out, and there's talking back and forth, and finally it escalates to the point where Randy insults Bryan. Oh right, I remember he said something to the effect of, you know, one day Brie's gonna wake up and realize that she's not sleeping next to a real man. She's sleeping next to some barnyard animal. And Bryan loses his shit. He attacks Orton. And he starts attacking. They're fighting around the ring, brawling. Randy turns it around and they're still brawling. And Bryan's getting beat down. And Randy sets Bryan up on the apron to give him the DDT off the apron to the floor. And that's where Brie comes out. She comes running down and she's like, please stop, no, and whatever. Randy DDTs Bryan anyways, plants him on the floor. And then he's basically taunting Brie and all this shit. And then he finally picks Bryan back up, or he clears off the announce table first. He clears off the announce table, and then he picks Bryan back up, and he gets him on top of the table, and he gives him the RKO on the table, and the table actually breaks this time. Randy has given so many people RKOs on that table, and it never breaks, until now. But he RKOs him through the table, and Randy just kind of backs away, and Brie goes over to Bryan, and they're the doctors and the referees and whatever. That's where the show goes off the air. So Randy's being built up to look kind of strong, so something tells me Bryan will probably win. Hopefully. But yeah, that was the end of the show. Wasn't really all that great. We had a couple of good matches at least, though. Like I said, the first match, Punk and Big E, was actually pretty good. When Big E took that GTS, he sold it like a champ. He looked like he was totally knocked out. Fandango and Kofi was decent, even though Kofi had to win with his crap, whatever the fuck. Los Matadores beating Mahal and Slater was still decent, even though It was Mahal and Slater jobbing like always, whatever. Truth and Axel was still decent, I guess. Alicia Fox and Brie was crap. Ryder and Del Rio, please give me a break. Ryder needs to fucking quit. He's not going anywhere. He's going to be jobbed out from now until the end of his contract. He may as well just save face and quit. And I'm talking quit wrestling. He can't possibly recover from this. Whatever. The Shield match versus Ziggler and the Usos was still fairly good. Cesaro and Santino was crap. Why Santino keeps winning? The only time he lost was like Fandango, and that was the other week on SmackDown. Overall, the show was alright, I guess. It still felt kind of boring. And yeah. Whatever. That was Raw. Once again, September 30th, 2013. Yeah, that was it. So, thank you for watching. I will see if I can get around to doing the SmackDown spoilers either Wednesday or Thursday. Hopefully I won't forget this time. I definitely won't be able to watch all of SmackDown on Friday because, again, I'm working. So I'll have to get the spoilers up Wednesday or Thursday. And I will try to see if I can see or watch the pay-per-view on Sunday. I am working on Sunday, and it's probably going to be fairly late, so I may not be able to see all of it. So I'll probably have to read notes from No DQ or whatever to get the full scoop on what I miss. But I will see if I can get home before the show starts. I doubt I'll be able to see the pre-show, but we'll have to see. Again, thank you for watching. And again, I'm sorry for missing SmackDown last week. I was too busy playing GTA 5. That game is really damn good, and the online mode comes out sometime tomorrow. It's damn near midnight now. They may drop it then. I doubt that. It's 2 minutes to midnight, actually, right now. So, we'll have to see. But I'm going to go play GTA 5. Thank you for watching. Join us hopefully Wednesday or Thursday when I'll be doing SmackDown spoilers. Hopefully, if I can be bothered to do so. Thank you for watching once again. Please join us next time. We will see you next time. Good night.